It's the holiday season and we're preparing for our first freezing temperatures of the year. So my husband Austin and I have invited my favorite home inspector, John Hallmark, to our personal property, and he's gonna teach us all about winterizing our home.
Thanks, Lauren. It's great to be here. We're gonna be looking at some of the things that are important for us here in Texas. Because in Texas, we've been experiencing a lot of really significant freezes lately, and our homes aren't necessarily built for that kind of temperature. If you're coming from the Midwest or New York or something, your home was built differently than it was here in Texas. And so there are a few special circumstances that we need to look at and make sure that are getting addressed. So follow along with us as we go about our process.
All right, when you're ready.
Okay. So first up, I want to talk a little bit about sinks and when to drip them. Every time a big freeze is coming, people are always like, drip your faucets. But in reality, that doesn't always need to be the case. We only want to drip faucets when temperatures are going to be extremely cold, like down into the mid to low 20s or below, for multiple hours. If it's just going to like dip down to 28, no need to drip your faucets. If it's just going to be cold for like a day, but it's still going to stay above 30, no need to drip your faucets. But if we're getting down into the low 20s and are going to stay below freezing for more than 24 hours, that's a time when we might drip our faucets. Now, this faucet right here, since it's not on an exterior wall, doesn't need to be dripped. But if we were looking to drip a faucet, we're talking about a small amount of water, something maybe akin to that right there, where we're just keeping a little bit of water circulating through the pipe so it never slows down too much to be able to freeze. Another great thing you can do if we have an exterior wall is to open up the cabinets below the sink. That allows air to circulate in that area and keep that wall space hot. Now, if you have something like a toilet where you can't necessarily drip it, you might bring a space heater in and blow hot air against that wall to help keep that wall from getting too cold if this were an exterior wall. But since in this bathroom, this is an interior wall, we don't need to do any of this stuff. All right, let's head on to the next spot. So one of the things that you always want to look for are places where we might have exposed pipes in a space such as like a garage that's not heated with the rest of the house. So here we've got a water softener with some exposed piping, and we want to make sure that that's getting properly insulated. Just some little foam tubes and a little bit of tape will go a long way. I just use a pair of scissors and then I cut out pieces that will fit snugly over the pipes. And we're just gonna go through the process and do that for all of our exposed piping and then kind of put some tape pieces on to hold it in place. That's gonna help insulate it when this garage gets really cold if we're looking at like a snowmageddon type of event again. Another great place that you need to check in your Texas home is up in the attic. A lot of times water lines get routed through there whenever remodeling is done, and we want to make sure that those have been properly insulated. So give your attic a quick check. Look for things that look like copper, are blue and red like PEX lines, and if we see those water lines, let's make sure that we have some black pipe insulation wrapped around them. Let's head on outside and let's go take a look at the hose bibs. So one of the things we have to do is we have to protect our hose bibs. In Texas, our hose bibs have the valve outside the home. Up in the Midwest, those valves are inside the home to protect them from freezing. So the first thing we need to do is disconnect our water hose and get it out of the way. And then I like to go ahead and put a little bit of insulation around the hose bib itself to kind of give it an extra layer of protection. And now we're gonna put our hose bib cover on. Just loop the catch on the back side of it and then pull it tight, and then we've got a nice, snug, firm fit. Now, if you waited too long and can't find those at Home Depot, you can always makeshift something with just things you have around the house. One year, I think I used some old t-shirts, a plastic bag, and a cereal box with a little bit of tape to get all of my hose bibs covered on my house. So get creative. The goal is insulate and waterproof. So most of the things on your home, you can go ahead and do yourself, but whenever it comes to pool equipment, I generally recommend let's talk to your pool professional. Most of us as homeowners with pools have somebody that we consult with and comes in and cleans and helps us maintain this, because any spot where we have water that's not moving, it's going to be susceptible to freezing. But if our pump is flowing and water is flowing in all the places, we're okay. But I don't think that's the case for all of our valves and all of our locations. And so knowing what we need to do and how we need to do it, let's consult our specific pool care professional to help us come up with a good, solid plan. One of the last things that you want to do when you're winterizing your home is make sure that you can, one, locate your homeowner shutoff, and two, use it. This is in the instance that we lose power and we have big concerns about freezing, and we either need to, one, shut off water so we can drain the system, or two, know we have frozen pipes and maybe we've got water leaking out of a wall after things have thawed, and we want to stop that water so we don't cause more damage to the house. So finding out where your shutoff is and making sure you have the tools to be able to access it. So on this one, we have your meter, we have the city shutoff, and then we have the homeowner shutoff. So my recommendation is always just come in and just turn it a little bit to make sure that you can actually utilize it and shut it off in the case of an emergency. So this one, it's been installed so close up to the side here that I can't really turn it. If this were an emergency, I'd have a hard time shutting off water at this location. So now when it's a nice day, this is a great time to do service to these things, as opposed to waiting until we're in an emergency and have to deal with that. Now, if we needed to, we could come back to the city shutoff. They just don't necessarily love us doing that. They want us using the homeowner shutoff if we can. So as you can see, winterizing your home isn't difficult and doesn't take a lot of time, but it's something we definitely want to do, especially on a day like this when the sun is shining, and get it done before freezing temperatures come. This is one of those situations where an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. So get out there and winterize your home and keep it safe.